Alright, hadn't really thought of...
Wow.
Dude, I've been sick.
Alright, quick, get Rex tonight on the phone.
Hey guys, welcome to Dem Guys podcast, the podcast where we talk about really whatever we feel like.
I was kind of hoping for a theme song, like remember when we did the Dem Guys podcast as to the Flintstones?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I like that. Go watch that episode, because apparently we're not going to do it here.
Well, we've become all super professional now with actual music at the start.
That's true. We don't need our own Drew Sung theme song.
Exactly. Whatever.
Alright, well, as you can probably hear, the usual gang is here.
Yay!
Woo!
So, do we need to do names?
Yeah, man.
I don't think so. Whatever.
No, I think we do.
Do we?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm SnoShoe.
No, you're not. I'm SnoShoe.
I'm Matt, a.k.a.
I'm Drew.
Oh god. This is like one of those episodes where like the somebody clones somebody else and they're trying to convince them which one's the real one, and you have to shoot the bad one.
There you go.
It's a purple and terror sound.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm Drew.
And I'm Slash.
And I'm SnoShoe, like I said.
Yep, because he's the only one that took the intro seriously.
I told the truth.
Alright, yeah, you ready? You ready, SnoShoe?
I'm ready.
Here we go. You can email us at demguyspodcast@gmail.com
demguyspodcast@gmail.com
or follow us on Twitter at demguyspodcast.
at demguyspodcast.
Yeah.
And the reason you might want to email us is if, you want to submit questions or whatever for the podcast.
You can email us for any reason except for spam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just keep us company.
Right. That's all I do is check that email all day, and it gets lonely.
We're so bored.
The listenership is recruiting.
Yes,
We are.
exactly. Well, we're gonna change up the format. We decided we've been doing the whole rigid section idea for too long.
We're tired of it.
It's no longer acceptable. So now we're just sort of going with whatever topics happen to flow at the appropriate times.
We are going to have so much flow, it's going to be like a river, a raging river of Dem Guys podcast.
River, indeed.
So, for our first week, we decided to start off with some depressing news. Isn't that great?
Aren't you guys so excited for this?
Yeah.
Oh my.
It's more of an homage than depressing news.
This is true.
Recognizing the accomplishments.
So, it was just, for us, for when we're recording, it was just announced 2 hours ago that,
about an hour ago.
Yeah, Robin Williams passed away.
Very sad.
Yeah.
It makes you realize, I mean, everybody's posting everything on Twitter, but it makes you realize how much he's actually done. It's crazy when you look at him versus a lot of other actors. Just the amount of insanely good movies, and also the amount of stupid movies, but you still like them because he was in them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, he was quite a talent, and he died at 63, and that's young these days to have passed away. But apparently, and this is all sort of supposition, but apparently he was battling depression for a while, and they're not saying anything officially as of recording, but it's possible that he may have committed suicide.
Yeah, that's just crazy. That's hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, depression's a real serious thing, and it's it can really catch some people by surprise, I guess. Not so much that they not knowing that they have depression or whatever, but sometimes I think it can flare up unexpectedly, and unfortunately there's no opportunities to intervene or whatever. So on a completely serious note, if you feel that if you have depression or you think you might have depression, definitely seek help. You're not alone.
Yeah, clearly not. I mean, if Robin Williams had this kind of issue, one of the most liked guys on the face of the planet, then nobody's immune from
strike
it.
anyone. So.
Yeah.
So
that's the sad news.
I mean, when I think of Robin Williams, the first thing that comes to mind is Good Morning Vietnam. I thought that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, that was good.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire, the scene where he leans across the door frame with the cake all over his face. Or the pile over his face. He goes, hello!
That's right, yeah.
I actually haven't seen a whole lot of Robin Williams movies.
What?
Well, now you have a task you must complete.
He was one of the only actors that was really able to bridge the gap between being a true, goofy comedian and being a serious actor. Like, if you watch what's the one he did with Matt Damon?
Uh,
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
Yep. Very good
that
movie.
was a real good one. And like a bunch of the stuff had its, moments where he got to stretch in both directions, like what was it called, where he was the doctor that was all
Patch Adams.
Patch Adams, yeah, that went a couple of different directions in terms of the tone during that movie. So
It's kind of a dramedy type deal.
Exactly, yeah. So it was, he will be missed. His talent will definitely be missed.
Very true.
But what would not be missed in one of the worst transitions ever? But how do you transition away from a topic like that? Anyway?
You don't.
What would not be missed is if Twitch would stop being dumb.
Yeah, man. What's up with Twitch? Now, there's a lot of theories behind this, but I guess we'll just get to the news to start off with. Twitch this past week has announced 2 separate, updates that they're going to do to their website and have already started doing. The first one, which wasn't so bad, I think they announced it was something like August 6th, I believe. They said, hey guys, so there's Twitch streaming, right? Live streaming, and then once you're finished with your live streams, those are then captured and saved so that you can watch them later on what are called VODs, or videos on demand, or VODs, however you want to say it. The first thing they said is that these VODs will now only be saved for, I think it's up to 14 days now. And they used to be saved indefinitely, which is just crazy for the amount of bandwidth they were probably taking up to save those things. And if you look at that versus, how many views those VODs get you versus how many views an actual live stream gets you, it's probably not very smart to have those on. And then on top of that, so everybody was a little bit bummed out about that. Some people were defending it. But I think the next day, or it may have been the same day, either August 6th or August 7th, Twitch comes out and says, oh yeah, by the way guys, on those same VODs, if you have any kind of copyrighted audio in those VODs, we will mute a portion of that audio. And it's a 30-minute block that they're muting. So let's say I have a VOD that's an hour and a half long, and I play a 30-second copyrighted sound clip at the beginning, you lose the entire audio of the first 30 minutes of that VOD.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's a third of your recording.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, since then, that was clearly a little bit rushed. And since then, Twitch has kind of come out and said there's actually no appeals process when they rolled it out. And it just went through, and they used this... it's actually the same software I think YouTube used to partner with, called, I think it's Audio Magic or something like that.
Or like Audible Magic.
Yeah, that's probably right. Audible Magic.
Yeah, that's what it says in the article.
Okay.
Yeah, Audible Magic, and I think that's the same one that YouTube used to be with until YouTube came out with its own Content ID system, and apparently this is worse than the Content ID system, if that's imaginable.
Oh, wow.
So it's really bad at detecting and comparing those detections to a database. So Twitch's own streams were getting muted on their own VODs, and I think it was Dota has in-game music that got muted on the live Dota tournament or something like that on Dota's own page. So it's just no holds barred, started muting everything. Since then, it's been about a week ago. Since then, they have started implementing some appeals processes, and they're trying to refine how closely they can mute those audio segments. So I think their goal is to only mute the copyrighted audio, but they're so far off right now.
Right. Well, my theory on this is, and I don't remember if we ever had actually received confirmation that YouTube had acquired Twitch.
We have not.
Okay, it's still just supposition. But my theory is this is all coming about because they're prepping for a transition to full YouTube state of existence. I
think you're kind of right, but I don't think it actually implies that. I think this is a reaction to something that has to do with what you're talking about. But I don't think it's proven that this is a reaction to YouTube buying them out. I almost think, there's a couple articles about this actually, I almost think that it's a reaction to a failed deal. To them saying, we need to be appealing to other people trying to buy us out, and we've got all this copyrighted content flying around, nobody's going to want to buy us. And I think YouTube might have been like, oh, whoa, we don't want this.
Yeah, that's actually that makes more sense.
Yeah,
I could buy that scenario.
Definitely it's in reaction to something, but it's anybody's guess really as to what. It's all just supposition at this point, like you said. But what's interesting about why I really don't think it was Google is that they're not using the Content ID system. You would think Google would come in and use their own system to clean it up, but using Google's previous partner in Audible Magic is really weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
it seems like they're just behind the times a little bit.
It was so rushed, and even they actually held an AMA on Reddit, Ask Me Anything. So basically, you go in and ask the developers anything you want, and they'll somewhat answer it. And he answered quite a few things and cleared up some of the stuff, and basically admitted, yeah, this was rushed. Yeah, we probably should have told you before we actually rolled it out. But they were giving you some time to actually download your VODs before they start deleting them off the system, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
And they actually recently said, I guess in that same rollout, they said there's a highlight system, so you can have, I think it's, 15-minute highlights or something like that. And they've released the time limit on those highlights. So if you really wanted to, you could count your entire live stream as a highlight and then save that to a VOD. So they're just making you do more work to store all your videos if that's really what you want to do, which I think is okay.
Yeah, and I think most people, that want to maintain these broadcasts, well, at least in the Let's Player community. I don't know about these folks, like you said, like the Dota channel, they're probably not along these lines. But in the Let's Play community, it seems like, folks that want to save their broadcast, for future viewing, generally export it over to YouTube anyway.
Yeah, and I think there might be a new system to do that. I can't actually remember.
I had heard that they were trying to make a new system, but it was actually just as bad as the original system or something.
I heard the original system is terrible because they're exporting it in a weird video format that makes it impossible to port over to YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not much of streamers, so we can't speak from first-hand experience, but from what I read, it's still not great.
Well, one thing that I hope doesn't get muted on Twitch due to copyright music is Fish Plays Pokemon.
Yay!
Like we need more crazy Pokemon gaming mods. This thing caught my eye off Ars Technica. It showed up in my feed amidst all sorts of legitimate science news, and naturally I zone in on this. Somebody hacked together. It was like a 24-hour project. I think.
That's
hacked
what he
together
said.
a thing where he basically segmented a webcam into 6 regions and assigned each of those regions a button on the quote unquote the Game Boy, the emulator that he was using, and pointed the webcam at a fish in a bowl
named Grayson. Grayson the fish.
That's right, Grayson the fish, and started up Pokemon. And wherever the fish swims to, whenever it enters a new region of the bowl, that button is pressed.
It's pretty funny.
And apparently it's managed to make some progress, despite,
Well, okay, I'm reading it right now. I'll just read it off to you guys. I've actually stayed up on this pretty much since the inception, just because I'm interested in it. That anybody can basically come up with an unmanned Twitch channel, and right now it has 4,000 views, and it's been going on, or 4,000 people watching this. It's been going on for somewhere around a week. 170 hours actually says. He says, he ventured outside the town walls only to be met with many dangerous battles. His fierce growl could not defeat his enemies, and after many Pidgey and Rosetta encounters, our brave Grayson was defeated to return to home to the walls of Pallet Town. He's been playing for 170 hours. Last time I checked, he made it out of the house. But he acquired his first Pokemon, a Charmander named AAAABBBK, and defeated the opponent's Squirtle. Yeah.
See, what makes these things so great isn't so much that, it's okay, yeah, that's kind of cute, you set up a system where now a fish can decide what inputs go into a computer game or whatever, but it's the community that gets behind it that comes up with these, great write-ups.
Yeah.
The Twitch Plays Pokemon thing had a lot of great community stuff that spawned out around it, and I think that's really what makes these unmanned Twitch channel things very entertaining.
I think it's amazing because this has been going on for so long, and every time I've come in this chat room and I look at the chat, it's literally just a string of letters, nothing even recognizable. It's just people raging or saying, what the heck is wrong with this fish? In the FAQ, it actually says, is the fish dead? No, the fish is not dead. He just sleeps sometimes.
Yeah, there have been a couple of times. I looked in there once just to see someone posted this, and I'm like, oh, what is that? It can't be what I'm thinking, and it was.
It is exactly.
Yeah, so I clicked on it, and at one point it goes up to the surface, and it's just kind of at the top of the bowl, and everybody was like, it's dead.
Yep. Actually, continuing to read the FAQ, Question number one is the fish dead? No, the fish is not dead. He just sleeps sometimes. Question number 4 is the fish dead? Nope, still just sleeping. Question number 7, I really think the fish is dead. Seriously, it's okay, guys. He's just sleeping.
I don't know. My only problem with this, I mean, it's kind of amusing that someone set this up. My only problem with this was with Twitch Plays Pokemon, at least to some degree, there was some skill involved. Like, people were actually there were people in there who knew the game who were actually trying to enter the right commands and stuff.
Right.
This is a fish. It has no idea that it's even playing a video game. If it couldn't understand the concept.
Says you.
Yeah,
Grayson knows what he's doing.
You might as well hook up a dice roller.
I think you'd have a better chance.
Mike E6 plays Pokemon.
Yeah. Because the fish stays in the same place and tries to go up against the fence for like 2 hours in a row and just doesn't move.
That's not entertaining at all to me.
They've taken this from social experiment to biological. What the heck is going on?
Well, that goes back to what I'm saying though. Like, I would never actually tune into this channel. I just love hearing the stuff that springs out of it by the people who will.
I can't believe
that go in there.
There's 4,000 people watching this. And I'm one of them. But, I mean, I'm watching it as we speak. There's 4,114 people watching this, and the fish has not moved since I've been watching for the last 10 minutes.
Every single one of them is on a podcast right now talking about how ridiculous this is and how they can't believe there's that many viewers.
Exactly. There has to be. The fish is just hitting select. It hasn't moved off of the select button, and select doesn't do anything in Pokemon. Why is it even on the board? Oh, whatever.
Oh, man.
Okay,
That's pretty
Snow,
funny.
You might want to calm down and stop watching now.
I'm turning into the viewers. Look at all these people have gotten to this point where they're just capitalizing every letter and just typing all the letters in the chat, and that's me now.
Well, while Snow just starts pounding on his keyboard into the Twitch chat, we'll mention the fact that Drew has finally come into the early 21st century.
Congrats!
Yes, I got a PS3.
Yay!
So, I've probably mentioned it on the podcast before, but I wanted to get a PS3 to play some of the PlayStation exclusive games that I couldn't play on my 360.
Or any games made in the last 10 years.
Sure. So, yeah, I got a PS3. I actually traded in some of my Xbox games that I didn't want anymore, including Watch Dogs. I did not beat the game. Not a big fan, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, we won't.
I think we've talked as a whole about how this podcast is disappointed in Watch Dogs as a whole.
Very much so.
Consensus had, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a PS3. I have Gran Turismo 6, which is mostly to play with a bunch of my friends who race online. And then other than that, I've mostly been getting story-based games. I have Uncharted, I have Infamous, I got Killzone, which from what I understand is kind of the Halo of PlayStation. And the next game I want to get is either going to be Little Big Planet or I also really want to get PlayStation All-Stars so I can fight Slash over the internet.
No, play Little Big Planet with Slash.
I do have Little Big Planet.
It's a fantastic co-op game.
I might find Little Big Planet more entertaining as a co-op game. Just playing it by myself, I actually don't get very far before I'm like, I am bored with this concept. I'm just not as enamored with Little Big Planet as a lot of other people are.
It's such a co-op game. It's not really a single player game, but being with your friends and having a frying pan and hitting them in the face with it and watching the reaction, there's nothing better.
SnoShoe, get out of that Twitch chat.
I can't. He's still hitting select. I'm gonna keep this up, and we'll have updates in between topics, and I'll see if he's hitting the other buttons.
Okay,
sounds fantastic. I will say Infamous, though, is one of my favorite games for the PS3. I got that with the whole PlayStation Network hack.
Happy birthday, 13, right?
They just hacked my throat. But when the PlayStation Network hack happened a few years ago, I got Little Big Planet and Infamous as my free games, and I thoroughly enjoyed Infamous. That's one of the few games in the past 15 years that I have bothered to 100%.
Okay.
Just because I really enjoy the gameplay there.
I'm going to have to play it now because I have Infamous 1, 2, and 3, I think, that came with my PlayStation.
I tried the demo for 2, and I wasn't super impressed with 2. But 1 was very well put together.
Drew, what year do you think the PlayStation 3 came out?
2000.
Let's test your knowledge.
5?
Is that your final answer?
I'm going to say 2004 or 2005.
Wrong! 2006.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That was a really good guess, though.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I actually thought it was actually older.
Was the Xbox 360 2005?
I believe so. I think... Well, let me check. Googling.
Okay.
Now, I also recommend
Yes.
picking up the Final Fantasy X and X-2 remastered.
I have those.
Okay, there you go.
I just haven't really gotten a chance to play them yet.
November 22nd, 2005.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep, so it's a year older.
Very good.
Strangely enough. Yeah, but actually, that's exciting. You know, I think it's really... Because you've held out so long, it's really not bad because it's not like there's any games coming out for the PS4 anyway. So you pretty much have the most current technology when it comes to PlayStation gaming.
Yeah,
PlayStation 4 has like 4 exclusive games right now or something like that.
Yeah, and
Ridiculous.
plus with a PlayStation 4, you'd have to pay to be able to play online, whereas PS3 you don't.
Is that still true? Like, I thought that was just an entire PlayStation Network update. Even if you have PS3, you still don't have to pay?
Yeah, it's just
As far as I know,
PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4, you need PS Plus.
Sweet. Good to know. I really need to play my PlayStation 3. Clearly.
Blow the dust off.
Oh, man. No, it sits right next to my computer, and I look at it every day, and sometimes I accidentally kick it and turn it on, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Not today. And I put it back on.
Accidentally kick it.
Yeah. I actually unplugged it to keep that from happening, so I wouldn't feel bad.
Oh, that makes me feel even worse for your.
No,
PS3.
it's like in a coma.
Yeah,
It'll
I
wake
know.
up and be like, man, we just played a game yesterday,
still hear
right?
you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
They say coma patients do that.
No.
Oh, one
Actually-
last game my friend has, I want to borrow it from him, is Shadow of the Colossus. I really want to play that.
Oh, okay.
That's a Greek mythology game, right?
I think it's a totally fantasy world, but...
Oh, never
could be
mind.
wrong.
I don't know, Colossus
Yeah, I don't
sounds
know a whole
cool.
lot about it either. Yeah. But that's cool.
Yeah, so speaking of your games, I have some newer games. Actually, I don't know if they're newer or not. These are some of the
I
games
think they are newer.
I
yes.
bought in the Steam Summer Sale. So I'm starting to dig into my Steam library and determine what I want to play, if I want to record any of them, if I want to stream any of them, or if I just want to play some of them. So the past week I've been playing Democracy 3 and Euro Truck Simulator 2. Democracy 3, it's interesting because it's like a legitimate political simulator. It's like, in the age of all these simulator games, this one has... All it is making decisions and having everybody angry at you and losing the game.
Is it possible to win?
I don't know. I got reelected once. I'm still going to continue to try it. You know, I actually got my girlfriend to start playing it because she's really into politics and worldly stuff. And it's probably just because I play video games and she doesn't, but I actually got reelected, and the 3 times I've watched her play, she, 1, didn't get reelected, and then the next 2 times she played, she got assassinated.
Wow.
Her approval ratings went so low that somebody came and killed her. So,
Wow.
Now, what are you getting reelected as? Like,
So you
are
can choose your
president of
country,
the
right?
United States, or okay,
right. You can choose, like the first time I played as United Kingdom, and for some reason that was a ridiculously amount, that's not even a word. It was really hard compared to the United States. So I played as the UK, I played as the United States, I played as Canada. I had the most luck with the US, and that was because I had an insane sense of nationalism amongst my the people. And on top of that, the nationalism got so high that people started like having racist thoughts against other nationalities.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it became an issue, and I had to deal with that.
You were trying to create a new world order.
Pretty much. I was like, okay, I need to solve this pretty quick. America sucks and stuff, guys. I didn't know what to
We're
do.
not that great. It's like, we're pretty cool, but
Yeah.
we're not that great.
And, like, there's annoying things, like, so, you know, your GDP is basically the value of goods and services in your country. Well,
Right.
if you increase the GDP, then people are like, hey, by the way, we have an amazing country, so we don't feel the need to work. So your unemployment goes up. And I'm like, what? My country's so good that nobody wants to work in it? But then if you raise taxes, you get this thing called brain drain, where all the best, like, smartest people in your country go to other countries so they don't have to pay the high taxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is why I will never be in politics.
Oh man, it makes me never want to do this. It's crazy, but it's a pretty good game and it's well thought out. It's not visually appealing and there's no like tricks to it, so it's really just like a basic see if you can beat this type game. There's nothing fancy to it, so it's pretty cool though. And then I guess kind of on the completely opposite spectrum, Euro Truck Simulator 2. I know a lot of people have played this game it's probably been out a year and a half or something like that. And I know Corrales did a full series on it, and he really liked it. I played for a couple hours yesterday for the first time, and holy cow, I don't ever want to drive next to a truck driver again. Noticing how hard it must be to drive a truck, like, the first thing they want you to do, you drive it like 10 feet, and then they're like, okay, back it into this parking spot. Okay, I'll back it into this parking spot. 30 minutes later, they said it would be easy. They said I could back it in.
With sweat pouring down your face?
No, really, I was sweating. My girlfriend was sitting on the couch, and I was like, okay, this is awful. And you're yelling at people not going at stop signs and everything.
When you said you didn't want to drive next to a truck, I thought you were saying it was because you realized exactly how easy it was for you to crush other vehicles.
Well,
so
I haven't killed anybody yet.
People.
I did go a little too fast on the exit ramp one time and kind of shot off the edge. Slightly damaged the contents in the truck, but got a little stuck, but then backed it up and made my exit correct.
Wow.
So it was all good. But no, that game, it gives me a heart attack because you really feel like you don't want to hit other people. But there's different ways to control it. You can control it with the keyboard, which is like really not easy to control. And then so I was like, well, okay, I'll control it with a mouse. So my mouse controls the steering wheel, and so if I barely move my mouse, the steering wheel flies to the left. And it's just like, it's crazy to play. I don't know. I recommend it though. It looks really cool.
See, I despise driving in general, so playing a game where I am like, I'm okay with like a racing game, like an auto racing game. I'm okay with that because then I get to drive in ways that I don't normally get to drive, right? But in a game like this where I have to worry about actually following all of the same rules that I have to follow in real life.
Yeah, stopping at the stop signs and stuff is kind of funny.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan. That doesn't interest me in the slightest.
Yesterday, like right before I quit playing, I got into a standoff where we both came to the stop sign at the same time. We both tried to go, and then we both stopped, and then we both tried to go. It was like real life. It was hilarious. And then the guy ended up pulling halfway in the intersection and didn't move, and then I ran him over.
Oh. See, if I played a game like this, I'd probably end up just playing it like Burnout Revenge. Like, I'd just be crashing into everything and trying to take out as many people as I could.
Yeah, if you could. You have to get those things up to some speed to do that, but once you do, you definitely could do that. No, I recommend it. It's pretty fun so far. I'm really excited to try to build my empire, my trucking empire.
Well, best of luck with that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your your positive thoughts.
Do you need a banner for your trucking empire?
Oh, I might need a banner. You know where I could build that banner? I'm sure you do.
Minecraft.
I was hoping you do because it's right there on the dock. So Minecraft updates. It seems like I've been talking a lot, but these are all my topics in a row. So
that's all right.
I rolled earlier and I won.
The world.
So I don't know if we mentioned this update specifically. I think we may have mentioned it a little bit on the previous podcast. But so there was one update where banners were a thing. So now on multiplayer servers, even on single player games, you can create your own banner, your own kind of logo. You're a little bit limited because there's only 6 layers to a banner. So it kind of challenges you to come up with a creative design that kind of signifies your domain, which is cool.
Yeah.
And there's some cool patterns and everything that you can use. And also in that update, there was an update that says we can now get player heads, but the only way to get player heads is to be, and also mob heads for that matter, is to be blown up by a charged creeper.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty awesome.
I love the fact that they've made that a thing, because watching people try to come up with ways to now farm charged creepers for the purposes of getting these different heads is fantastic.
I mean, lightning in Minecraft is not attracted to anything, so at best you're looking at a random chance. But, I mean, you can spread out as much as you want, but you have to try to get a storm to happen and then the lightning to strike exactly where you want it to strike.
Right. And then once you get one, you got to try to get it to a controlled location,
Right.
and then get the mobs or players that you want in that controlled location.
Right, and if you think
So, yeah,
about
it's-
it, so let's say you put 30 creepers together, and I don't know how many we'll turn to a charge creeper if a lightning bolt strikes, but let's say
Right.
you get 2 of them. Well, now, how do you get those 2 charged creepers out without blowing them
Exactly.
up or having the other creepers blow them up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. How do you sort them from the rest? And
Yeah.
So
I want to see someone use this method to get heads, because if it's a guaranteed head drop,
it is.
yeah, I want to see someone use this method to get wither skulls to make a wither.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you do that?
I'm-
I don't know.
You can, yeah. Seth Bling's snapshot video showed that you spawn in like 5 wither skeletons with a charged creeper, and you blow up the charged creeper, you get 5 wither skeleton skulls
Okay.
out of that explosion. So that is the most practical use of it, obviously.
I still feel like
the
getting
other-
wither skeleton heads is probably less rare than getting a charged creeper to blow up wither skeletons.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I know that's why I said it'd be funny
Yeah.
to see someone do this.
Yeah, but I think it's still a worthwhile, because here's the thing: all you would need to do is get one charged creeper, right? If you can manage to name tag a creeper and get it charged, then it won't despawn, right?
Right.
So now, if you can just work out a way to send a whole bunch of wither skeletons through a portal
Yeah.
to wherever that charged creeper is going, you could store up like 20, 30, 40 wither skeletons, then pop through, suicide basically to get that guy to go off. But,
Right.
Then you do a corpse run, and you've got, a stack of wither skeleton skulls.
I've never seen
ready
a
to
really
go.
good wither skeleton farm. I don't know if that's even possible with the way they spawn. But, I mean,
Yeah.
you can do it with zombie pigmen, so I would think there's probably a way to do it with wither skeletons. So that'd
think
be
so.
interesting. Yeah, you can get
You'd
like
have to
40 heads at a
herd them.
time.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of herd them, and get them to try
Right.
and chase you through the portal, and then they pop through and whatnot. And it would be pretty tricky. I haven't seen anything pop up yet where somebody has a defined, like, okay, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
Kind of tutorial type thing.
Yeah.
But I know it's coming. Somebody's going to have work out all the kinks.
Right, and it's going to be called like the slash farm or the snow farm from now on.
There you go.
They're going to be written
I
in the
can
books
imagine-
of Minecraft.
I can imagine Zisto having like one of his really like long-term pranks, and I can imagine him just building up like waiting for the charge creepers and then just building up amounts of like player and mob heads, and then
Yeah.
pranking someone with just like a billion heads.
Yeah, that's the sort of prank that he would spend the time on for sure.
So I wonder if you change your skin, does the head change with it? Or
Yes.
does it... Okay, so like you can't... I couldn't change mine to a Drew skin and then kill myself with charged creepers and then place Drew
then
heads.
have a
There
Drew
would be
head,
snow
no.
heads when I change my skin back.
No, it explicitly, the head is a particular item ID.
Yeah.
And then it has an NBT tag on it that states what the Minecraft username for that head is. So it downloads the skin
Okay,
for that user
I didn't
ID
know that.
Is it
to populate that head.
is it Drew Skin of the 43?
Yikes. That one hurt.
Oh.
I think we'll just move on to the next subtopic here. Stained glass
Okay.
beacons is in the new update.
Yes.
And by, I guess, that's not a really good way to describe it. You
No, that's a horrible summary. I
Yeah.
don't know why you
stained
called it
glass
that.
beacons, kind of. So you have to have a beacon, right? And it shoots the white light, but if you put colored stained glass on top of it, it changes the color of the light instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of cool things on Reddit where people are doing like color spectrums from left to right or black and white spectrums, or you can also do, I've seen Doc and the Zip Crowd crew do a lot of things where you can cycle out different stained glass and have it constantly change color. And they did it
Yeah.
in a nightclub scene, which is really cool. So they had
Oh, that is cool.
the color changing walls and stuff. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, I like that. I'm wondering, and I asked Dinnerbone on Twitter, but I didn't get a reply. Not that I was expecting one. But,
Darn.
I'm wondering if it was inspired by the Etho B00 PvP arena
It
that
could
they
be.
were working on the last map.
Yeah.
Because Etho he was trying to exploit a glitch where you could manage to push soul sand over the beacon, and
Yep.
it wouldn't switch the beacon off, but it would turn it like a gray shade.
Yeah, turn it black.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to use that to indicate which team had a particular capture point, and now it would just be, slide a particular color of stained glass over it. I think it's a fantastic feature. I could see using it as an alarm system, like if you had particular, like a mob trap of some sort, and maybe it was a sorter, and you somehow managed to sort out a given number of skeletons or something, whatever.
Right.
That you could have your beacon color change from blue to red, like, oh, it's active now, it's armed.
It's actually becoming an actual beacon instead of just it can signal something instead of just giving you a buff.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
So I think it's super cool. And it's just another one of those levels of customization that you get to have. Now it's not just everybody has, this white beam of light. People get to pick their favorite color and,
yep.
At the very least for their beacons. So that's pretty cool.
Now I'm picturing something from like Lord of the Rings where they have all the signals from Gondor all the way to Rohan. I'm picturing something like that, and it's just like a whole bunch of beacons. And it's like one changes color, and then the next one changes color, and then the next one changes color.
Right at the chunk load limit.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't tell if that comment made us gain a lot of viewers or lose a lot of viewers.
I think it made us gain a certain set of users and lose a different set of users, so it's probably a wash.
Yeah, okay. Welcome new people. Bye old people who didn't like you anyway. Okay, I'm going to keep going on with these Minecraft updates because there's quite a few. We've seen like 3 snapshots since the last podcast, but okay, also there's armor stands, which...
Yes.
The coolest thing about armor stands, so obviously they're wooden stands, I think they're 2 blocks tall, that you can place armor on. You can also place mob heads, like we talked about earlier, so you could make a stand that had a creeper head on it and scare the crap out of people, which is pretty cool. But they're also being treated as entities, not solid blocks. So that means they work on, say, slime blocks. So you can use pistons and slime blocks to bounce them around places. They fit inside of minecarts and you can push them around places. So there's a lot of really cool applications you can do because they're treated like entities. And that also means that they don't collide with other blocks. So people have found really cool things to do with exploiting the way the block model is set up. And there's a really cool campfire thing you can do with them too. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's kind of crazy.
I have not.
Yeah, I've seen it as like a base for a lantern as well.
Yeah.
They've done a bunch of stuff where you place a whole bunch in it like 8 of them in a single space, so that they're all rotated around, so it looks more like a 3D model. I've seen one of the things I like about it is the fact that because it's an entity, it sets flush with microblocks. So on half slabs or the snow slabs or whatever, it's not floating above them if you place it there. It actually, if you place it on there, and then it will drop down to be wherever a player would stand on that particular block. And there's also a very cool little display changer thing that the ZipCrowd guys had set up, where you can have like 5 of these armor stands in a column, and you hit a pressure plate or push a button or whatever, and it will drop an armor stand down, and it'll use sticky pistons with the slime blocks to catapult another one up in its place so you can swap your armor around.
Yep.
I thought that was a pretty cool system as well.
I instantly got reminded of if you guys don't know, I use Slash's armor to fight the Wither. And he has a cool little armor stand that he could use the same thing for. So it'd be like a switcher out or deal. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Also, the ZipCrowd, I don't know if you've seen this video. I recommend it because it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in Minecraft. But Whoopi, I think it was Whoopi, came up with in creative, I guess, creative vanilla. You can somehow, I don't know the ins and outs of it yet, but you can make the armor stands model like a miniature person. So you can make them end up looking like they're 1 block tall. And so they made this dock that had a dock head and like all diamond armor. And they were able to get this thing to move, basically, by using the clone and I think fill or whatever commands. And so he actually programmed it to say, if there's a block in front of you, pull out the pick and start mining the block. If there's an enemy in front of you, pull out the sword and start hitting the person. So he legitimately made a robot inside of Minecraft.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because there's so much stuff that you can do with the command blocks with it, and it has there are different NBT tags that you can set on it that cause it to, obviously you can put a name on it.
Yep.
You can tell it to render arms and put stuff in its arm slots. It basically, the game treats it like it's a mob, with no real AI associated with it, so it doesn't move or anything. But I mean, it's treated like a mob in the code, and so they've given map makers and people that are monkeying around in creative mode a lot of other options for it that you wouldn't find in vanilla survival, and I think that's pretty cool.
It's gonna be crazy. There's a ton of really cool things that are gonna come out with it, and that already have come out with it. Okay, so last 2 Minecraft updates. Whew, I'm tired. I I'm gonna lump these two together because they're kind of similar. Fences and doors. So fences now are no longer only oak fences. You can have birch fences and jungle fences and spruce fences and dark oak fences and everything, which we've been waiting for forever. Same with gates, fence gates also. They also changed the recipe for fences.
Yeah.
So they're slightly more expensive, which is kind of annoying because fences were pretty expensive to begin with. But I think instead of, it used to be something like 3 sticks per fence. Now it's like
it was 6.
It was 3 sticks a fence
because it was 6 for 2.
Gave you 2 what it boiled down to, they've changed the recipe. Now you get 3 fences instead of 2. And so under the old recipe, that would have cost you 9 sticks if you'd been able to actually craft it that way.
Okay.
But on the new recipe, it's like the inverse of fence gates. It's planks on the left and right and sticks in the middle. And because of how many sticks you can get from planks, now it costs 10 sticks for 3 fences.
So it's slightly more expensive. And
I've always found fences to be one of the more expensive, needlessly expensive blocks in the game. Mm-hmm. So it's slightly annoying. But I will give them the trade-off of now I can have my fences in whatever style that I want.
Exactly, and I really think it's going to be cool using the different posts, because I always use fences way more for just the posts instead of actually having them connected, because I don't really like the fence texture or the fence model when they connect to each other, but just having the stick standing up looks really cool. So you can do all kinds of different colors there now. And also, the Mog Miner, so that one was, I think it was Surge, was it? Or was it Grum? No, Grum.
I think Surge was involved in that. I don't remember.
I think Grum was involved in the fences, and then the Mog Miner came out with new doors. So we have all new doors for all different kinds of wood, but they're not the same model as the oak doors. They're all specific types of doors. So like the spruce door looks all medievally, and the dark oak door looks like a chocolate bar. And the birch door looks weird, and the jungle door looks like a Japanese something or other, or that's the acacia one. I mean, so yeah, they're interesting. It takes me a little while to get over new models in the game, especially when they don't really match up with the old models.
Yeah, no, I think I hear what you're saying.
It kind of bugs me.
The only problem that I haven't played with the new doors as of yet on my own. So the only thing that I've seen of them was the screenshot that was posted where the doors were in between planks of whatever type of wood made that particular type of door.
Right.
And looking at that, you're like, okay, this door works, this door doesn't really work. But you don't really get a chance to decide that until you get to try it with, okay, what if it's the doorway is in stone brick, or it's in certain colors of stained clay or whatever. So a bunch of them, like I don't think, for example, the new spruce doors, I don't think that they would work in the side of a stained clay based wall.
Yeah,
but they certainly would work on a cobble wall or a stone brick wall.
They definitely have their own styles now.
There. Yeah, exactly. So I think we're gonna see uses for all of the different models of doors as people get their hands on them and start doing some cool builds with them.
Yep.
But it's nice to have the options. That's one of the things. It's a very cheap way of them adding a whole bunch of additional options into the game based on from what there was before. And I think anytime that they can do that in Minecraft, it's a win for everybody.
Very true.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing that more. So I think you're seeing these updates. And somehow Mojang is releasing some of their stubbornness, and I think it's through some of the new devs. But obviously there's no reason they couldn't have had fences be different colors back in the day. But it was just them being stubborn and not wanting to add it. So now they're kind of phasing into a new era.
Well, I think a lot of it is, the more and more distance they get from Notch's original influences on it. Notch had a particular vision from the game when he started out. It was his game, and he had an idea of what he wanted to see in that game when it was completed. And there were certain things that, like, he made the statement, like, he wished he had never implemented half slabs.
Right.
The half blocks, because he just thought it didn't have any place in the game. And so I think a lot of this sort of stuff, not having it was sort of a Notch philosophy, that there was no need for it, that's not really what Minecraft is about. But now that he's not involved in it anymore, and the other devs are new people have come on the team, and there's things have changed. I think they're more willing to listen to the ideas of the community, and plus the fact that there's such a heavy modding community and a heavy texture pack, resource pack creating community. I think they see a lot of the stuff. coming up with new features for Minecraft is a pretty easy thing to do. You go out, you look at the community, you say, what are people hacking into the game? You know, because like stuff like hoppers, I think, came out of that. You know,
Pistons
it's like
came
other
out of that.
mods had. Yeah, Pistons came out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a really easy thing to do, and I'm just glad that they're that they're taking that direction.
Yeah, and it's good because Minecraft, I mean, if they didn't go away from that direction, it would start to get stale, honestly. There's only so much they can do while sticking to that original vision, so I think it's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I do as well.
Nice.
Drew hasn't had a whole heck of a lot of input.
Yeah.
He will in this next topic, though, because Drew loves
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Snow doesn't know anything about Doctor Who, so it's time for me to eat my
Snow is like
Cheez-Its in
Doctor
peace.
Who.
Doctor Who?
Doctor what?
So, yeah, I actually, I know we discussed Doctor Who a few podcasts ago, and I know I've talked about before how, like, I was annoyed season 7 wasn't even on Netflix yet, and it's on Netflix now, and I haven't finished watching season 7 yet, but series, it's BBC, so they call them
Yes.
series, not season. Anyway, series 8 of Doctor Who is starting soon, and they are going to have a theatrical premiere for it. And so I know I'm planning on going to see it with my dad at the theater, and Slash is planning on going to see it as well, I believe.
That is correct. Yes, the wife and I are finally getting away from the baby. He turned 6 months old as of this recording, and we have not been out, just the two of us, since he was born. So it's high time that we went out on a date night, and that's we're using Doctor Who as our date night.
6 months old is old enough to stay at home alone, so
Yes,
they can
exactly.
finally leave him.
He's reached the age where we could just leave him here.
Congrats, man. That's a
And he'll
milestone.
be fine.
I'm picturing the movie Home Alone, but with a 6-month-old.
That would be a boring movie.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Doctor Who now. It should be stated, we record the podcast on Monday evenings, every other Monday. Doctor Who is 2 Mondays from this recording date.
Dun,
Yes.
dun,
Drew
dun.
and I will not be recording the podcast for it would be the episode that would come out on the 27th. I don't know if SnoShoe's going to manage to come up with something.
If I can find 2 guests that are dynamic and willing to try a podcast, then maybe, but I wouldn't hold your breath. So
Yeah.
your best bet is 3 weeks from now.
So, sorry, listenership, but Doctor Who trumps the whole lot of you.
Aw, poor
I was
listenership.
going to say maybe Snow could start like a parody podcast and call it Those Guys.
In direct competition with himself. Yeah, there you go. But Doctor Who, I'm really looking forward. It's the new Doctor. It's the 12th Doctor.
Yes, and what is the actor's name? Peter
Capaldi is the
Yes.
actor. He was in Doctor Who once already since the reboot. He during the 10th Doctor's run, he played a character in Pompeii, in the Pompeii episode.
Oh.
So it's kind of funny that he's coming back to the show now to actually play the titular Doctor. But yeah, he's been on screen under the Doctor Who title, once before, and I've liked what little we've seen of him so far. We got a brief glimpse of him in. I'm trying to remember, because all the titles of the episodes towards the end of Series 7 were all like the same. There was like the Day of the Doctor, the Night of the Doctor, the Time of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, we got a brief glimpse of him, and then the finale, obviously, of Series 7, we got a slightly less brief glimpse of him.
Slightly less brief.
Slightly less brief, yeah. And so we don't have a real good idea of what kind of personality this new Doctor has. So I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. I'm interested to see how well he and the current companion, Clara, how well they mesh, what kind of chemistry they have.
I'm really glad I've gotten far enough into season 7 that I know who that is, because otherwise I would have been like, wait, what?
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What's happening? Who is Doctor Who?
You know what? I'm gonna do an honorable mention. We had decided we weren't going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy because I was the only one who had seen it. But I just wanted to mention I did go and see it, and Karen Gillan is in it.
Oh, is she in it? Okay.
She doesn't look anything like Amy.
Well, she has short hair now. Did she cut her hair all short?
She has kind of like blue skin and no hair.
And well, that would also be a factor.
Blue skin and no hair. She's changed quite a bit.
the first time it showed her, my sister had like looked everything up on IMDb and stuff, and she doesn't watch Doctor Who, but she knows enough about it that she's like, "Hey, Andrew, that's Amy from Doctor Who." I'm like, "Yeah, I can tell by the voice." She's like, "Really?" Because she didn't think it sounded anything like her, but I'm like, "Yeah, I can hear the accent." So, yeah.
All right.
I guess just more TV news. Lindsey Stirling was on America's Got Talent for the second time.
As an invited guest performer this time.
Yes.
As opposed to a contestant.
Yes, so Lindsey
Just remind
Stirling,
people, who she is.
Okay, she is an awesome violinist, probably most known for her content on YouTube, on her YouTube channel, Lindsey Stomp. But, yeah, she kind of got her start on America's Got Talent season 5, I believe. And she made it into some of the later rounds. She did pretty well, but she didn't make it all the way. And I know at least one of the judges, Piers Morgan, kind of stated like, this isn't going to catch on. People aren't going to pay to see this or whatever. And now Lindsey Stirling has like huge amounts of followers on YouTube and stuff. And I actually remember a few months ago, Lindsey retweeted Piers Morgan, who said something like, "I never could have been, or I've never been so happy that I was wrong," or something like that.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. You know, it's nice to see someone get vindicated in that regard, you know? Because, I mean, clearly she believed in what she was doing, and a lot of other folks were big fans of her, I think, even then, and certainly have become big fans of her since. So, you know, it's kind of a comeback story, and people like a comeback story.
Yeah, I want to look up real quick.
The funny thing is that Lindsey Stirling was on America's Got Talent, and Piers Morgan was no longer on America's Got Talent.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. She came back, and he was no longer.
He was gone.
But I guess he's moved on to other things. He's too important for America's Got
Yeah,
Talent.
now he's on CNN all the time.
Yeah,
I think he still has that show. I don't know. Maybe not.
I think so, yeah.
I just wanted to mention that Lindsey's most popular YouTube video, Crystallize, which is a really awesome song, just recently hit 100 million views. So that's an idea of how big she's gotten.
That's a crazy amount of views.
That's insane.
That's just a lot.
I
Speaking
will
of a lot,
take 1/100th of 1% of those views.
Yeah, please. I just rolled the dice, and they told me to give an honorable mention real quick to Vintage Beef for hitting 1 million subscribers.
Oh, yes!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't actually plan that one out. That was impromptu, could you tell?
Yes, indeed. I could.
Congrats. Yeah,
Yes,
Vintage
good
Beef,
job,
our
Beef.
our server's namesake, finally hit 1 million subscribers. It's awesome. So
Yep.
Very cool. All right, well,
Have fun with that
just got a
transition.
couple Yeah. I just have a couple of cool, quick tech-related news items that caught my eye over the past few weeks. One thing that Ars Technica reported on, that's where I get a lot of my tech news, is that apparently this season coming up of the National Football League, there are going to be RFID tracking the players, radio frequency identifier chips, like the sort of thing that you would find in freight and in the
Dogs.
in the back of your pet, yeah, in the back of their neck at home. But apparently they've got some technology on the players this season that they're actually going to be tracking their position real time on the field and feeding that into a computer that will be calculating stats like their acceleration rates and all sorts of crazy bits of information, which is really going to fire up the fantasy football world because there's so many more stats now. There's so many more numbers that your fantasy football team score can be based on.
Now, what I want to know here is they've actually had this for a little while. It's been different. In basketball, I'm a big NBA fan. They have this thing called Sports View, which is where there's cameras in the ceilings of the arenas, and they actually track the players not via RFID, but they can actually say, "Hey, this is this player," and then they'll track them throughout the entire game, and they'll tell how far they've run, and how fast they've run, and how many times they've touched the ball because they track the ball too. So it's a similar thing, but they've only released that information to the teams, I think, and very rarely do the fans actually get to see the information. So I'm wondering if this is similar or not. If the fans are going to get to see it or not.
I'm pretty sure fans are getting at least some degree of information on here based on the article.
Now, right here, this quote concerns me about that. It says, so Zebra is what it's called, I think. Zebra's tracking technology will help teams evolve training, scouting, and evaluation through increased knowledge of player performance, as well as provide ways for our teams and partners to enhance the fan experience. So that sounds like we're going to give the information to the teams, and the teams are going to do what they want with it, I think.
Yeah, possibly. It's not super clear exactly what they're going to be doing with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't actually know
We'll just find out probably when the regular season starts up. We'll start seeing some of this stuff. The commentator. We'll have to actually listen to the commentators for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sigh.
Yeah, sadly. No, there's probably going to be some really cool information that comes out from it, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be like you can look up how far your favorite players run in every game of the season, which is what it should be, because that would be so much cooler. But no, it's definitely going to be. It's a step in the future.
Yeah. I like this. The last line of the article says, next year, players are likely to be equipped with Zebra technology that measures heart rates, temperature, and even lung capacity.
Whoa, lung
That's
capacity?
just nuts.
I get the first two. The third one threw me for a loop there. Lung capacity?
Yeah.
How do you... Okay, I don't know. We'll figure that out in the next podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But then, and the other part of technology news that I wanted to cover real quick, we've mentioned previously on this podcast many episodes ago. I don't remember how long ago now, but there was that Rosetta Comet probe spacecraft that had launched. 10 years ago? I guess.
Is this the one that woke up?
This is the one
Okay.
that they sent a wake up signal to it. I don't know, back
It was a couple
in the
months
winter
ago.
sometime, like February, March, sometime. I want to say.
Yeah.
And they, there was a bit of drama concerning that because they were like, is it even going to respond? Are we going to get a response from it? Is it going to actually wake up and start talking back to us? And it did. And it has now reached its destination. It's gotten to its comet and has sent back high-resolution photography of the comet's surface. And it is a really cool looking thing. It's the closest look that we've ever gotten of the comets that keep whizzing in and out of our neighborhood through the solar system.
If you've seen Space Engineers, you know what he's talking about. Although that's not a comet. Those are asteroids.
Yeah, same general concept though. But yeah, it's very, very cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing some news in terms of what it manages to find on that comet, because I don't think it's actually attached to it yet. I think it's just in orbit around it, but I think its intent is to try to attach to it and try to take samples.
It says it's within 100 kilometers, which is a crazy...
Yeah.
That seems like really far away, but in space,
No
it's
one
not.
can
That's spitting distance.
Yeah. The plan for the coming weeks is to have the orbiter approach a distance of 50 kilometers before a circular orbit of 30 kilometers.
There you go.
That's exciting. Yay, science.
It's ridiculous too, because I mean the comets don't have a whole heck of a lot of mass, so trying to maintain stable orbits around them very, very difficult, because any larger masses anywhere nearby, and that's galactic style nearby, is going to perturb both the probe's path and the comet's path, and so it's tricky with something that unmassive. I don't know what the opposite of massive is.
Immassive? I don't
It's
know.
not small, it's not like the size is a thing, but whatever.
It's like a ball of styrofoam.
Kind of is, yeah. It's not unlike that.
Well, Rosetta, from Dem Guys podcast, we wish you luck. Live long and prosper, and take pictures of stuff.
And may the force be with you.
Yes, that too. Speaking of force, I was trying to
Keep
start...
going.
Oh, man, I was
Yeah,
going to
I'm curious to see where you're going with this.
The segue and have somebody else finish it. Didn't work very well. Well, actually, what I was going to segue is that we're really happy that Rosetta has reached its goal, and we have reached our goal of ending the podcast.
There you go.
But before we
Yay!
end,
A
we have
transition.
our bi-weekly questions section from our bi-weekly questionnaire. Bi-weekly, I think I just said? Bi-weekly questionnaire.
Bi-weekly?
A Million Monkeys. He says, "Hey guys, just wondering if any of you have any type of collection like comic books, classic video games, coins, or stamps?"
Cat's out of the bag. A Million Monkeys is William Shatner. What kind of delivery was that?
It was a great one, okay? I saw a lot of commas, and so I decided to put commas all over the place whenever I was reading it.
Oh, man.
Do you guys have any
Well,
collections?
I have the easy answer of no.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. Slash?
Gee, man, I don't... I sort of have... It's not one I maintain, but for the vast majority of my childhood, I would get the full box set of baseball cards.
Yeah.
And get them all, sorted out and whatever. And they are all, I think they're all actually still at my parents' house, just collecting dust in binders somewhere. But that's probably the only collection that I can think of that. Well, now I'll tell you what, there is a collection that I have. I just remembered. It's been a while since we got any new ones. But
Beanie Babies.
Have you ever been to...
Oh, no, sorry. I thought I knew where you were going with that, but I think I was wrong.
No. I don't want to collect any more of those if possible. If you've ever been to like amusement parks and museums and stuff like that, and you've seen those pressed penny machines.
Oh, yeah.
Your penny in a couple of quarters or whatever, and it turns your penny into this oblong thing with an image of something on it as a souvenir. We got what's called the penny passport, which is a little mini binder that you can slide those into. They have pockets that are perfectly sized to fit these pressed pennies into.
That's kind of cool.
And so we tend to collect pressed pennies whenever we go places.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's illegal, but it's cool.
You know what? You can destroy money up to, I want to say it's like $50.
Is that right?
Without penalty. Yeah, it's
changes my life.
Obscenely large amount of destruction.
Well, I feel like I'm just going to go destroy $20 bills now.
I heard, I could be wrong about this, but from what I heard is that those coin machines, they actually changed it. For a while it was actually using a penny and flattening it and putting the image on there. Now, from what I understood, they changed it to it's basically giving you just like a piece of copper that's not an actual penny.
Well, that's lame.
Don't tell him that, Drew. You just ruined his whole collection.
I hope that's not really... Well, no, the ones that we have are definitely pressed pennies.
Yeah.
Because, you can tell by the way the machinery works. But
we
haven't
seen
seen one in a while, or used one in a while. So it's possible that trend has sort of gone by the wayside. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out now.
That's always something that makes me think of the zoo. I feel like the zoo always has those.
Yep.
Our zoo does, at least.
Agree.
Well, okay, so I'm not really into, I don't have any current collections, I guess, but kind of like you, Slash, I have a lot of old collections. I got passed down some baseball cards, so I have a ton of those, and I don't think I collected any of those. Maybe when I was little, I got some of them. I remember getting, the holographic ones that you would scratch, and they're all scratchy, they make noise, and you could move them up and down, and they'd make different pictures based on the way you look at them. Mm-hmm. I remember getting those. They're probably not worth anything, but I have them. And then I had a huge Pokemon card collection back in 2nd or 3rd grade that was awesome. But really, I guess what I collected most was coins. I really like getting coins from different countries. So my grandpa actually gave me a big old box of different coins from all over the world because he went all over. So we have Chinese and Mongolian, maybe Mongolian, I might have just made that up. And all over Europe and Australia and everything. So I have all kinds of foreign money. That's really cool. But
I will say that, in my travels, I've noticed that we in the United States are the proud owners of the world's most boring currency ever.
That's why we made it different colors nowadays. Used to be all green, now we have purple currency too.
Where's this purple currency coming from?
The new bills that have orange and purple on them.
Okay, but they're still green bills.
Yeah, they're green, but
with a little bit of I'm talking in other countries you'll have notes of different denominations are actually different sizes or dimensions, and coins that have multiple metals that are one inside the other and have holes through some of them or whatever. Currency that a blind person can actually use, unlike the currency that we make our blind people in this country try to
poor American blind people. You'll never have any money.
It's ridiculous.
Or at least if you do, you won't know it.
I'm now picturing dollar bills with Braille on them.
They could do it.
Printing them with
it would be an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do it yourself, just poke holes in them or something. I did get a dollar bill the other day that said drinking money on it. So, I don't know if that's illegal, defacing money like that, but maybe you could do the same thing with Braille.
Up to $50 or whatever it is. I don't remember the exact amount, but you're perfectly fine.
Exactly.
Now I just want to tell you a funny work story. This was from a while ago, but one time someone was paying, and they weren't buying anything really expensive, but they were paying with a $5 bill, and the $5 bill was ripped in half. And I'm I don't know if I can accept this. So I had to call my manager over, and they said, as long as you can line it up and tape it back together, we can accept it. So that's what we did.
I think you have to have 3 corners technically.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember one
like,
time.
It was.
Go ahead,
It
Drew.
was
Sorry.
right down the middle. It was right. It was just like. I mean, it was a jagged line, but it was pretty much right down the middle, and we just taped it back together. And then we're like, okay, you're good to go.
Stuck it in the drawer.
I did the exact same thing at a movie theater. Like, I pulled a $20 bill out of my pocket, and I did that thing you do whenever you get new money or whatever, and you kind of like, you hold it by 2 fingers on the ends, and you pull your fingers together, and then like pull it taut.
Right,
you know,
you snap it.
You go, yeah,
you snap it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like fresh $20 bill.
It totally snapped in half. It was
That's really
the worst
funny.
thing. I
Yay,
was like-
money, rip.
and then, yep, now I have 2 $10 bills. I don't think it works that way, but yeah, they had that whole discussion at the movie theater too. They were like, "Can we take this?" I was like, "Come on, man, please."
Oh, man.
It was the dumbest
you
$20
imagine-
mistake.
Could you imagine going up to someone and handing them a $20 bill and going, "Hey, do you have change for a 20?" And they just rip it in half and back. Here's some tens. Just walk off.
I want to see how far this can go. I want to see someone like shred it and then piece it back together little by little and
We have
like
shredded
glue it
money.
all together.
Yeah, we'll try it. My girlfriend went to the Treasury in Chicago. We have shredded money, a bag of shredded money somewhere, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'll work on that for the next podcast.
If that bag does not have a large dollar sign on the side of it, I am very disappointed.
I'll have to check. Maybe it does. If not, I'll put it in a burlap sack with dollars on the side.
Now, from my defaced money perspective, we didn't have a $5 bill that ripped in half or anything recently, but it did go through the wash.
Oh, that's the
What
worst.
was supposed to be the whites, but a red shirt was in among the laundry, and you know what happens then. So not only did we get a whole bunch of like pink underwear and stuff out of it, but we have a pink $5 bill now. And it is hanging on our fridge, and we are pondering whether or not we want to try spending that somewhere.
No, that's a
See if they'll
souvenir
take it.
now. That's a collector's item.
It looks like Monopoly money
Yeah.
now, so I think that's gonna make even the least observant teller kind of raise an eyebrow.
That's awesome. Okay, well, before we end our podcast today, I just want to give an update on how the fish is doing. It has now been about an hour since we last updated you. Fish is still in Pallet Town, but he has moved to the other side of Pallet Town, which is exciting. He did stop hitting select, and now he is hitting B over and over and over. People are still typing. Actually, they're all typing praise fish into the chat right now. Mixed by random letters. So praise fish, random letters, praise fish, random letters. Still 4,000 people watching. So there we go.
Oh, wow.
There's your Fish Plays Pokemon update. We'll give you another update in 3 weeks.
I would have lost so much money on a bet, because I would have said that there is no way that anything has happened in the length of this recording.
No, he moved
with
from
that
one side of
darn
Pallet
fish.
Town to the other. He got stuck on the right arrow and just started walking, and he made it.
That's impressive. That is far more significant change than I would have expected.
Oh, he's stuck on select now. Oh gosh, okay. We better end this thing before I end it.
All right, well, thanks for joining us on the listenership today, and it's now time for us to all go and swab the poop deck. So,
We hope you set sail with us again.
All right, see you later, everybody.
bye.
Oh gosh. Bye.